The Jersey Swap podcast is sponsored by Apollo Home. Folks, for a limited time, take advantage of Apollo's spring deal, a new AC unit for as low as $99 per month. Stay cold when it's hot, stay hot when it's cold, and get ready for the warmer weather with Apollo Home. Give them a call or visit them at apollohome.com. Hey guys, welcome to a special recording of the Jersey Swap podcast. I think if you are looking online right now and checking this out on YouTube, you'll notice that there's four of us and not usually two. So what we're doing this week, we're sort of transitioning into the World Cup cycle. I mean, it's in about a week or so. I think Mexico kicks off against South Africa. Is that
South
correct?
Africa? Yep.
It's a meaty matchup, regardless of how you look at it. So what we've done this week is we brought in Jose Guerra, we brought in Jacob Holton from CST, and our special guest, Kenta Hagiwara from the Asian Football Show. Folks, all three of you, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we this week we've been probably seeing too much of each other. We had the CST World Cup draft. I want to say that I probably have found myself in the same hole I did last time when I picked Qatar. But we'll definitely discuss that again. We'll go around in the circle a little bit. I sort of want to talk to people, a little bit by bit. First of all, Jose, I want to thank you for joining us because you've really been helping us at CST and sort of going through the entirety of the World Cup. I can't believe that you've been putting these together week by week. So as one of the podcasters, I want to thank you.
No. The kind of thing. Thank you. I mean, I've been watching World Cup since 1970, and I knew the history at a very high level from 1930 through the present. But I had to do more research, and it was really fascinating to read how some of these World Cups came together, some of the intrigue behind it, some of the political issues. Which, by the way, they've been around since 1930. I mean, FIFA has been involved in political issues since 19. So this is nothing new except the degree. So it's really been fascinating to see how it came together, the teams that got involved, how some teams just poo-pooed it in the beginning. This is beneath us, and now it's become this gargantuan, global show. So it's been fun to do this.
Yeah, I sort of wanted to ask, maybe from my perspective. Hold on, I'm messing things up completely here, guys. Sorry. Maybe from my perspective here, in terms of like looking at every World Cup, it's probably hard to say which one is your favorite, which one is the one that you would, say is the best experience for your buck. But reading up on everything, which do you feel held the most intrigue if you go from 1930s all the way to the present time?
Well, let's talk about it from really two quick perspectives. One is the intrigue of, well, why there? why are we doing it there? And I think it's got to be Qatar, because Qatar had zero and still has zero tradition in soccer. So a lot of okay, why? I mean, what's going to happen? What kind of a country is it? So from that perspective, I think there was a lot of intrigue as to, okay, well, what is this? Let's take a look, see what they do. But the other angle is the sporting side. And by that, I mean, in going back, 1954, Hungary was just destroying everybody in sight. They were called the Magnificent Magyars. They were actually the ones that invented total football back then. And everybody expected these guys are going to win it. I mean, in fact, in their first game, it was against West Germany opening. They crushed them. I don't know what the score was. Something scandalous, like 8-2 or 8-1. So these guys are going to win it. And in the end, West Germany beat them in the final. So there was a lot of intrigue around, okay, I mean, nobody's going to stop these guys. They've had like a run of 30-something games without losing. They're going to crown themselves. And then when the final came around, it was what happened here? And there was a lot of intrigue about. There was a lot of reasons why that happened, mind you. But the intrigue was, what happened? How did these guys that seemed just unbeatable, unstoppable with the modern version back then in the 50s, modern from everyone, from the way they dressed, the way they trained, the way they set up tactics, and then lose? So two sides of that. The intrigue first of, well, why Qatar? And then in the 1950s, why did you lose? What happened? And again, there were a lot of reasons why that happened.
Yeah. I mean, looking at really everything that's happened, you could honestly say that every cycle had a unique aspect to it. I mean, you can
Yes.
look at the Russian ones, the cycle before that, really considering all the news that we're getting the planning stages regarding this three-tiered setup this time around. Do you feel like really when you peel back the layers of the onion that there's anything that this is unique, that this is something we've never seen before? The way that the U.S. is handling this World Cup?
Well, I think so. And here's why. I mean, again, as I said in the beginning, politics has been involved with this sport from the very beginning. But I think the difference is that even in the most nastiest of nastiest World Cups from a political perspective, which was Mussolini's fascist state, which they went out of their way to say, here's why fascism works. I mean, the players came out dressed in black. They did the fascist salute. So, there was just a lot of stuff there that people felt uncomfortable before and during the tournament. But nonetheless, the Italians were welcoming. People that I've read that went to say, hey, everybody was friendly. Yeah, okay, you saw all these symbols around you of authoritarianism, but in general, you never felt like they were, looking down your neck or following you. Everybody was very welcome. I think the difference now is that, and I've heard this from friends and the foreign press, is that we seem to be going, not we, this crowd that's here and the people in general, right? But I think as a country, we seem to be going out of the way to tell people, maybe we'll let you in, and if we do, you had better behave. And even if you behave, you better get the heck out of here the second this thing is over, because we're going to come after you. And it's like if I would make a dinner, I'm going to make a dinner, invite her. Hey, dinner's from 8 to 11. Okay, everybody gets a picture. But if you stay here 1 second, I'm going to call the cops. Well,
Yeah.
Maybe I don't go. But I mean, if that's how you're going to feel about it, no thanks. I won't go to dinner then. So I think that's the difference. That as a superpower, because we are right now still the only superpower, we seem to be going out of the way to not make people welcome. And on top of that, of course, you add the prices from FIFA. So you have a double whammy. One that says, oh, you can come if you can pay these ridiculous prices, which a lot of fans are saying, well, no, I mean, I can't, between going there, traveling around your country, which is huge, and paying these obnoxious prices, I really can't afford it. And then on top of that, you're sending signals as well. Maybe you're not so welcome. So I think that's what's different from this one. This feels different from the ones I've lived through, by the way. I mean, 86 in Mexico, 94 here. And of course, I've been following the World Cup since 1970. This just one feels different. And it's a shame.
Yeah, maybe I can bring in our other two guests here, just talk about sort of what their thoughts are really coming into this World Cup. Once again, Jose, thank you very much for all your coverage.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Maybe bringing it down to Jacob, it's great to have you on the show here. First time on the jersey swap here.
Yeah, first time.
I mean, what are your anticipations coming into this World Cup?
The World Cup is a big reason why I'm on this show today. Back in 2014, the World Cup is kind of what made me fall in love with soccer and kind of pushed me down that path. So the World Cup usually has a really special place in my heart personally, because it's the tournament that really drew me into soccer. And I'm sure that's a big story for a lot of other different people, but like, I was not a big fan of when the World Cup went to Qatar. Originally, I wasn't even going to watch it, but I'm like, the games are going to be on. I'm got to have something on at work while I end up watching it, of course, because it's a spectacle. But I think Jose's right. I think this one feels just feels a little bit different. And that sucks. Like I don't like people feeling like they can't come here because they're not the right skin color, and that's kind of what it boils down to. And I don't like that. That's not how it should be. I think the World Cup should just be like a big event for everybody to come together and be like, well, let's watch some soccer together, And I think that's a huge bummer. And the price gouging is ridiculous too. That's a huge part of it as well. I'm not, it's both the maybe you're not so welcome here and the price gouging is just totally ridiculous. And it just bums me out. It just bums me out. I'm still going to watch. Obviously, it's just like Qatar. I'm going to watch, and I'm sure the matches are going to be fantastic. It's not all going to be great because it's the biggest tournament ever, and there's some teams who are just going to be out firepowered. But I'm still gonna watch, and I'm sure the matches will be great, and I'm sure the atmospheres will be fine for the most part. But it's just got this stink on it that kind of rubs me the wrong way.
It's kind of weird. Maybe I can bring Kenta in on this one. When I was I worked in Japan back in 2002 when it was Korea and Japan hosting the World Cup. And
Oh yeah.
if I recall, Kenta, I think they were having to pull teeth to get people into some of these games in Japan, that they weren't able to fill up some of the stands. It feels like it's maybe an opposite thing here, where I think the demand is so high that it's making these skyrocket. I mean, that's the impression I'm getting, if I recall correctly.
I mean, yeah, in 02, I mean, you look at South Korea and Japan, the sport wasn't as big as it is now in this country. So that comes as no surprise. I don't know if it's the polar opposite this time around, in the sense that demand is causing prices to be up. I don't necessarily believe that to be the case in terms of how the tickets were sold in the first place. I don't think the system in terms of how FIFA were pricing tickets are in solely because demand is high. I think it's just because they found an opportunity to make money, and they've seen how other tickets are, being sold in the US for other major competitions and finals. You look at the Super Bowl as the comparison that gets thrown around constantly. And they're just using that as an advantage. And I don't think it's necessarily the case that they're looking at this and saying, oh, well, the demand is so high, we have to price it here to be competitive. I don't think that's the case. And that, that's why FIFA are selling tickets for cheaper now. So
maybe
if there is any proof,
a couple of bucks cheaper, right?
Yeah, but the fact that they're lowering it at all, right?
Yeah, maybe that is the way that I sort of misrepresented it. That the demand is maybe not high because the supply is low. It feels like that they held back a little bit on some of them, and then when they realize that people aren't buying some of the higher price tickets, they're like, okay, I guess we have to start lowering the price. We have to start providing more tickets. It feels just a wonky system that they've put in place, and it's just not working out for everybody.
Well, and Infantino himself has come up with the ridiculous. Well, if you look at a college game, it costs. Well, no, no.
That was a poor example that he provided.
Oh my God.
I mean, you could probably look at it like if we're talking about the Super Bowl, okay, you've got a point.
Sure.
But you're talking about something that happens every 4 years, and you're talking about something that has many more games than I think the NFL playoffs would provide. So they're going to have to start lower. If anything, you're probably going to see this type of pricing start to affect college football even more. That you're going to start seeing higher prices for their best of 16 matches that show up. It's going to make them skyrocket in general. So I think maybe he's got it backwards on that one.
What was the line that he said? It was like $300 to get into a college game. Was the line that he used in Infantino?
I have never paid that much for a college football game.
Maybe if you're sitting in a suite, sure, maybe it's $300. Like, you can get a ticket in the upper deck for a pretty reasonable price.
Yeah. So hopefully, people will start to realize that's not the way you handle things. But in this age of getting while the getting's good, I kind of doubt we're going to go back to.
I'm hoping that 4 years from now, we're in Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. They say stop.
Yeah,
no, we're not going to.
I mean, haven't they already said for Euros that they're actually bringing the prices down?
Oh yeah. Euros, they've already been very clear saying, no, we're not going to do this. So yeah,
we'll see who's got the louder voice, if it's FIFA or UEFA. We'll see.
Yeah.
Let's once again, I want to thank all four of you guys coming here. Let's sort of flash back a little bit to the 2022 championship, Argentina over France. Finally, Messi raises the trophy that's eluded him for the longest time. Maybe just go around the horn here and ask a few questions. Like Kenta, did this result back in 2022 sort of surprise you, or was there anything about 2022 that surprised you?
Surprised? Anything? That's a very loaded question.
I guess I'm pulling teeth on this one.
I mean, it's not overly surprising to see it's two of the top teams go at it. The defending champion, I guess, breaking the champions curse might be surprising to some. to make it there, because we've seen this history now of national teams not do well after winning the previous edition. So maybe that's there, but I mean, I'm sure there was a good contingent of people in the world before the tournament started that had a final between France and Argentina. I don't think that's overly surprising. So no, I mean, the matches were good and competitive, and during that World Cup final, I don't think anyone was talking about kind of the issues with Qatar hosting and all that. So yeah, I mean, nothing overly surprising, generally speaking. I thought it was
that is one of the things I'm sort of like wary of. I hope that it doesn't get to the point that we're so bogged down in the sport that suddenly the talk of all these issues that were underlying to start things get forgotten about, get not talked about or discussed. But maybe that's my thing in terms of how I felt Qatar was a little surprising, that we stopped talking about all of that. Maybe go down to you, Jacob. I mean, looking at how the US played, of course they missed in 2018, so anything was an improvement. But I mean, were you sort of surprised by how far the US advanced?
So they think they lost to Netherlands in the round of 16, right? They had made it second out of their group. The thing is, like, I think the United States kind of blew it a little bit. They made it to the round of 16 and lost to a good Netherlands side, but they had a real opportunity to take that group. I mean, they had Iran in that group, who they beat. They drew with England 0-0, and that was a really close. I remember that being a really close match.
Yes.
And if they would have just taken some chances, they could have beat England, and they could have won that group, and then they would have played Cameroon. And then they would have played Cameroon in the or not Cameroon, Senegal in the round of 16, and that's a way easier matchup than playing the Netherlands. And who knows, maybe they could have made it to the quarterfinals. Surprise? No, I think they kind of met expectations. Maybe some people had thought that they could make it to the quarterfinals, but when you're going up against a Netherlands side, I mean, they were outgunned, and everyone knew that they were outgunned, and they didn't put up as much of a fight as they did in the past against, when they went up against Belgium, and the one that they had. What was it? Was that Brazil in 2014? I think it was when they played against, and Tim Howard was just standing on his head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I feel like, for me personally, I feel like they made it about as far as I expected them to. Could they have played better against Netherlands? Sure, but I didn't think it was egregious for them to go out to them.
Yeah. Over to you, Jose. Just looking at outside of the US, outside of the victors, were there any teams in 2022 that you feel were really on the precipice of doing something really good?
I think it was the Netherlands. I mean, when you look at the comeback they had against that Argentina, I mean, that slugfest between the two of them, if it weren't for Messi and the mind games from their goalkeeper, Martinez, because he got under their skin. I mean, he stopped 2 of their penalty kicks, and with that, they got eliminated. But they were really close. After they tied, you could tell the Argentinians, they were in shock. How could this have? We were 10 minutes away and at a time from just going on. Now we got to play overtime with these guys. They're going to be on top of us. And you could tell they were shell-shocked. Netherlands came this close to knocking out Argentina. The fact that they got to the penalty kicks, I think Argentina was lucky. But there, of course, again, their tremendous talent, their depth, and their goalie, which you guys remember, obnoxious in their face, but it worked. He got under their skin.
Yeah, and maybe future FCC legend Wout Weghorst coming off the bench and scoring 2 bangers to shock the system.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I agree with that. I think Netherlands do have something big coming up. I mean, Virgil van Dijk unfortunately did get the yips on that first penalty kick. But if that's differently, then he gets himself, that first goal. Maybe we see the butterfly effect, everything changing there. I'm going to say, really, I think the runners up in 3rd place, Croatia, and even the team they beat, Morocco. I was really impressed with those 2 teams. But I feel that Morocco feels like this team that if anybody from Africa is going to win the entire thing, it's going to be them. I think that they really have themselves an opportunity to go very far in 2026. So why don't we take some of this time to go for broke and make some predictions. I've sort of pulled things together in terms of our groups here. 12 groups, 48 teams. That means an extra knockout round. I mean, if you really want to subject these teams to playing an extra game in this heat, then, you know, good luck with you there. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through all 12 of these groups. And instead of asking each person for their individual, you know, opinions and we get them together, we're going to do sort of like a courtroom scenario here. So we'll start with one person. They'll give their thoughts in terms of 1 through 4, how they feel it's going to finish. And if anybody has an objection, state it right away. You know, do it like the objection and point at the camera or something like they do on Law and Order. So let's start with Group A. Right now, we've got Mexico, South Korea, South Africa, and the Fighting Pavel Bukas from Czechia, who will unfortunately not be represented by Pavel Buka. Jose, let's go to you first on Group A. What are your thoughts in terms of how this finishes?
Well, I think Mexico has an opportunity to wind up in first place, but they got to get that first win against South Africa. And in their minds, I think they're still thinking about 2010, where they barely tied South Africa. They were playing in South Africa. And South Africa was ranked really low. So I think there's still a bit of a mental, because they've been talking about them in the Mexican press. Hey, can we get over that hump? But so if they get over that, I think they have a chance of winding up in first place. South Korea, I think, will be a logical second one. And Czechia, I think, will be in third. I don't think South Africa has much of a chance to get out of the group.
I think Czechia has a chance to actually finish in second. I do believe South Korea is a really, really good team. I think Czechia is a little underrated. I know they're not like, I know they're not one of the top teams in UEFA. And maybe, you know, this is a little bit biased because Pavel Buka has repped them a little bit. I know he's not going to be at the World Cup, but I do think that's a really good side. And I do think that they have a chance to perhaps finish in second place.
Okay.
I think I feel it's safe to say South Africa is going to be on the outside looking in, but okay, let's go to Group B then. We're going to assume Mexico is the number 1, and then South Korea and Czechia are going to maybe qualify. Jacob, let's go to you. We've got the second hosts, Canada, Switzerland. Let's see how neutral they can be here. Qatar, let's say if they can get a win under their belt, and then Bosnia and Herzegovina, who got in through UEFA playoffs. What say you there, Jacob?
I believe Switzerland are going to come out on top there. It's a really good squad. They've got a lot of experience. They've got some young players who can also do some things. Briel and Bolo might not be here. Who knows? That's kind of a weird situation, but I think they can still win some games without him. I believe Canada is going to come in second in that group. It's pretty tough between them and Bosnia and Herzegovina, but I do think Canada, being a host country, I think they're going to be up for this, and I think they want to make a little bit of noise, and I think they can finish in second. I'm putting Qatar last. I don't think they're going to get a win in the group. I really don't. I think it's a really, really tough group for them, and they're not going to make it out, obviously.
I have an objection.
Go for it.
Not only because I picked Bosnia and Herzegovina to finish higher up. I think they're going to shock a lot of teams. I think the fact that they got through some of their games relatively unscathed in the UEFA playoffs, I think they're going to shock a few teams. I wouldn't be surprised if they get wins both against Qatar and Canada. I think asking for them to beat Switzerland is probably a hefty pull, but I think Bosnia and Herzegovina finished second.
Oh, okay. All right. I could, I'm not going to be shocked if that happens. I do think that they've got a little bit of grittiness to them that I think could cause some problems for some teams.
Yeah. That's how I'm going to go for it. And speaking of how I'm going to go for it, I'm going to go to Group C right now, and I've got Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, and Haiti. Honestly, outside of Haiti, this is going to be a slugfest. I honestly think Brazil could lose one of these games and not finish first in their division. I'm going to say Morocco at the top. I will put Brazil safe for second. Scotland, I think they get a banger. They probably demolish Haiti. And Haiti's just there for, representing what they see. So that's how I say it. I say Morocco at the top. Prove me wrong.
I'm going to go with Brazil at the top, mainly because they have a lot of firepower. Now, this is not the Brazil of decades past. A lot of people, they should be one of the first. They're not. I don't see them as one of their favorites, but they have a lot of firepower. If you look at the lineups, and forget about Neymar. Neymar he might not even play, but they have a lot of firepower. So I think they're going to be there. Morocco certainly is going to be right behind them. And yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're first, but I'm going with Brazil, Morocco, and Scotland. Although I got to tell you, the Scottish fans are really nervous. Are we going to implode again?
I don't know how much you guys listen to YouTube, but this one guy who does a banger of a song for Scotland. It's singing doing this Eurowave. Scott McTominay.
Oh no.
With a bicycle kick. And I'm like, that might be one reason to have them in the top two, but I don't see them going that far. Okay, let's go to Group D. Kenta, United States, Australia, Paraguay, and Turkey. Is this a group of death?
Group of life. Anyone can win.
Oh.
I don't really. If you were to ask me the distinction between group of life and group of death, I wouldn't be able to tell you what the difference is, because I feel like they're used very interchangeably depending on how optimistic you are or pessimistic you are. This is tough. I'll stick by my gut and say that Turkey finished first. I think the European experience of some of these players, the younger players like Kenan Yildiz and Arda Güler, I like the talent there over I think the individual talents anywhere else in this group. And then I've been stuck on the other three. I'll give the hosts the slight edge, so I'll put USA 2. I'm gonna give Australia 3. I think their defensive core is a lot more sturdy than Paraguay, and I think Paraguay are very reliant in terms of their goal scoring from just individual attacking talents, whether that's Almiron, whether that's Enciso, whether that's Diego Gomez at Brighton. It's very individually reliant. I don't think they create enough chances. And against a good mid block in Australia, including the midfielders of this Australian, who's in New York City FC midfielder, Aiden O'Neill. That's his name.
Yeah.
And then some of the younger attacking talents that this Australian side have, like Nestor Iragunda is easily one of my favorite Asian footballers right now. Former Bayern product playing at Watford. He's so fun. So I think there's enough there that they can get some goals and be really good defensively and be one of the third place teams to move on to the knockouts, personally speaking.
Any objections with that? I mean,
no. I think the European experience with Turkey, I think, is the one that nails it. But I would not be surprised if the U.S. winds up in first place. I mean, they get that first victory, and they could keep rolling. But yeah, Turkey's probably going to have the edge. U.S. and Australia, Paraguay might be able, because they're in the American continent. Usually, American teams from Canada to Chile, they do well when it's played in this continent. But I don't think they have the talent this year.
Do you think Paraguay is the worst team out of CONMEBOL? I mean, that's a hard loaded question here, but
yeah, well, right of the group that's there, yes, right now, yes.
Yeah, I think Paraguay. There's something off about them, but I look at the U.S. I don't know if I can put them at first or second. There's something to be said about playing a team you've already played and showing off your hand. I mean, Paraguay and Australia have both had this experience of playing the U.S. already, and granted, they're going to be seeing the best U.S. squad that Pochettino can put together. But I be careful. I mean, they might drop their curtain a little too quickly, and if they're lurking in third place, they might be in a little bit of trouble if they're not careful.
And I think the only thing is they played really, really well against a good Senegal team the other night, and I think if you can put that kind of performance together consistently, they can win a lot of games. Defensively, that's a whole different question. Can you outscore anybody else that you're going to go up against? And if they go up against somebody who plays a deep block, if they just sit in and make you break them down, can they score goals? I think those are the two biggest questions.
Are you talking about FCC here?
Supposed to say.
Just asking.
Do we have Pat Noonan with aspirations of taking the U.S. team? I mean, he'd fit right in. It feels like
An awful lot like FCC.
It's the exact same thing.
But I mean, I do think that this team can get firepower, especially if you have Falagun producing, Pepe producing at the clips that they've done in Europe. I mean, even the likes of Haji Wright giving us that quality. That's incredible out of Coventry City. I just wonder what happens when the wheels come off of Tyler Adams.
Yeah.
What happens when he needs to sit down for 45 minutes and you have nobody to take his spot?
What do you mean? Seb Berhalter comes in and he just slots right in.
I'm pretty sure Gio Reyna was added under this roster as a defensive midfielder, right? And that's the word on the street. So just give him a shift for a half.
It feels like it's like his half brother Rio or something like that. He's going to come out with a mustache on. The podcast is also sponsored by Beyond Exercise. Beyond Exercise is a Cincinnati physical therapy and fitness business that helps people of all ages stay active and fit. They also work with local MLS and MLS Next Pro athletes, as well as the Manu Ledesma Academy UPSL team. See how they can elevate your health and fitness at gobeyondexercise.com. Okay, so let's move on then to Group E. Jose, let's ask you about your opinion here. Germany, Ecuador, Ivory Coast, and the fighting Jurgen Locadias of Curacao.
Well, let's just say Curacao is just there for the fun. I mean, they're going to get blown out of the water. But I think Ecuador is going to top the group because they're a very balanced group. They had an incredibly strong qualifying in CONMEBOL. And CONMEBOL, to me, is the most difficult confederation to qualify because of the distances, the geography, and the teams involved. I mean, you got to go play Brazil and Argentina and Colombia. So I think Ecuador comes out on top. Germany, I think this time will make it out of the groups. They haven't done it in 2 straight World Cups. And I'm saying that because they have completely revamped that team. They brought in a whole lot of new talent now, a new coach, of course. So they have more hungry players, younger players. They have some veterans still there. Not sure what Neuer is doing there, by the way, but okay, probably a reason why he's still there. So I'm picking Germany to coin up in second place, and then Ivory Coast. But Curacao, I don't think just doesn't stand a chance.
I will object to this. I don't know. Ecuador, very good defensive team. I just question where the goals come from. Strongly. Even looking at the Saudi Arabia match, Saudi Arabia is one of the worst defensive teams from Asia, and they scored 2 goals over 90 minutes. And like you should be picking the Saudi Arabia team apart much better than this Ecuador side were able to. And if all the goals for this team are going to come from veterans and I just don't know where they're coming. Like defensively, I get it. Like they're going to be so strong, but I don't know how they match up against the attacking power, especially at the 10s with Florian Wirtz and whether Kai Havertz plays as a 10 or a 9, I'm not sure. And then you have Musiala back from injury. Like I don't know how you counteract that on the other end of the pitch if you're Ecuador. And then on the same end, like Ivory Coast just beat France today. So
in France.
Yeah. So some big European teams lost today or didn't win today. So I think Ivory Coast could also cause some chaos. I don't think Ecuador finished first, but I do think they'll make a good run to the knockouts because I think the defense matters more in those knockout stage matches where you can take it into extra time and take it into penalties.
Good points, but Ecuador finds a way of winning. I mean, yeah, it's ugly, but they figure out a way.
It's ugly and it's low scoring. I think they've had like a bunch of clean sheets in a row, but didn't they also start with like -3 to start the CONMEBOL qualification, if I recall?
Something like that, yeah.
They were in the hole to start things, and then they just bum rushed the show and just shot up the qualifications. It's impressive. I think they're going to do really well in defense, but I don't think you can depend on a 1-1 draw to get you far in this. You're going to have to rack up goals when you can. When all of these third place finishes really matter.
Yeah, two wins in the last 7. I guess I get that you're not winning you haven't lost a match, but 2 in the last 7, 1 coming against Saudi Arabia and 1 against New Zealand is just not not enough for me to justify a first place finish in the groups.
I mean, they did 0-0 against Canada. That's not bad, but
yeah,
we'll see. I think
Canada
stronger
also went
now
down 5 minutes. Like they were down a man in the
Yeah,
6th minute of the match. So like,
Okay, I that's going to be, I think, a difficult decider for me. If Ivory Coast didn't win today, I would have had things, I think, set in place, but a little bit of intrigue in there. Let's go to Group F. Kenta, let's bring you up here. We've got the Netherlands, we've got Japan, we've got Tunisia, and somehow qualifying because of the Nations League, Sweden.
yeah, Sweden have no right to be here, but they're here for the party. I've gone chalk on this and just got Netherlands first, Japan second, Sweden third, Tunisia fourth. Tunisia and Japan have played a couple friendlies over the last handful of years. They've won one of each. And the most recent was a pretty big win by Japan in Japan in I think 2024, a couple years ago at this point. I'm fairly confident Japan can win that match against Tunisia. Sweden might cause some troubles on set pieces with Isak and Gyökeres and the size that they can present on those set pieces, but generally speaking, I think Japan's attacking talent, even without Minamino and Mitoma available for this national team, is still sufficient in terms of depth to be able to win that match. And then the opening match between Japan and the Netherlands should be interesting. Netherlands lost recently to Algeria, but they're still a very, very good side, and I question where the goals will come from without Xavi Simons, with his injury. I don't know where the creative output is, but they're still a very, very good defensive team that I don't imagine them not making a top 2 finish in this group.
I think Japan's going to top that group.
Interesting.
I think they have performed very well in the most recent World Cups. They always find a way to just stay in every single match. I think they might not beat the Netherlands in that opening match, but I don't see them outright losing that. Not in my mind. There's a lot of talent on both sides. The Netherlands are probably more talented on paper, but I got a sneaking suspicion Japan's going to make another deep run in this World Cup.
It feels like now is the time. I think if you are someone who believes in golden ages or generations, I think now is the time for Japan. They really need to strike with iron.
I don't disagree with that. But even in 22, they lost to Costa Rica and beat Germany and Spain. So they're this with Moriyasu, even at the 23 Asian Cup, there's these moments where he just doesn't perform, and the inconsistencies in performances with Hajime Moriyasu. At the highs, it's the best, and you can beat anyone. And at the lows, it's just inconsistent. And in tournament football, I don't think he's at 100% in all 3 matches. And you go in the second match for Japan against Tunisia in altitude in Monterrey, I just don't trust that match either. So because of that, I struggle to put him at number 1. But yeah, I mean, if they play at their best, they're easily in contention to top the group again. But my history of watching Japanese football would incline me to say I'm not overly confident, especially under the Moriyasu era, where again, at their peak, they are one of the best national teams, but the consistency of performances and his inability to perform in tournament football in the crucial moments, especially looking at the Asian Cup that happened in 2023 when he lost to Iraq and Iran, it's concerning, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna hope that we get some sort of evidence that they can put it together under Moriyasu, and the time should be now. I do think that they can take down Sweden, they can take down Tunisia. If they beat Netherlands, it feels like it's something they don't need to do, but considering it's their first game, they need to have a result, I think, against Netherlands to really lay their stake here. Yep. All right, we're gonna move up to Group G, and it's my turn. Belgium, Egypt. By the way, Belgium I picked, I think 4 years ago, I picked them as my pot 1 team, and they didn't do too good. So Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. It's weird in this case. I feel like there are 3 teams that could easily be in last place. I think Egypt has talent, but they could find themselves behind the 8 ball if they're not careful. Same with Iran, definitely with New Zealand. I don't want to say Belgium's going to cakewalk into this, though. I look at how Belgium qualified to get in, and they're playing against Liechtenstein and Gibraltar, winning these 7-0, 6-0 games at home. That's not quite the quality that you're going to get this time around. So I would be careful if you were a Belgium fan. I do think they're still going to top it. And I'm going to say coin flip between Egypt and Iran. I think Iran gets number 2. I think they've got something to prove, and Egypt probably just has the legend of Mo Salah really to ride off with. New Zealand, thanks for coming, but there's a reason that that Oceania does not go too far in these tournaments.
And by the way, apparently Oceania is now guaranteed 1 place from now on with 48 teams. So these guys, we're going to be seeing a lot of New Zealand, and they're going to be frustrated.
I was listening to, like, there was this 5-hour YouTube from was it Mackwell who was just basically brought together all of his rundowns, and he went through all of the teams from the Oceania Federation. And I'm like, wow, you're diving really deep into a bunch of games that mean nothing, man.
He loves ball. He's just in it for the love of the game, that guy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he loves ball.
He's a good friend of mine. He is so dedicated to the craft. It's his video essays, with the long ones, are truly impressive.
Go
I haven't
watch
even
it.
Gone through that full 5-hour video.
Go watch it. I mean, it's basically stitched together from 2 years worth of his videos. It's fascinating. I'm surprised the guy hasn't got like a stiff drink with him at the end of this entire thing. Let's go on to Group H here. Jacob, we're bringing you on here for Spain, Uruguay, Cape Verde, and Saudi Arabia. This
okay.
I don't know if this is a group of death either, but
no, I mean, Cape Verde is just there for fun. Although, did they get a result the other day? Did they?
Yeah, I forget who they beat. They beat somebody like of name. I forget who it was, but they did.
Serbia.
Serbia. Okay, yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, there you go. I do think this is pretty straightforward, though. For me personally, I think Spain's going to top. They're going to top, not easily, because Uruguay is there and they're going to push them, I think. But I do think Spain's going to top. Uruguay is going to come in second. Give me Saudi Arabia in third and Cape Verde in last. I don't think that's too. I don't think that's too out of the realm of possibility. And maybe you could flip flop Uruguay and Spain if you think Uruguay, has the horses. But I think Spain is pretty clearly the best team in this group.
I think the only thing that might get in the way of Spain is that there's 2 or 3 or 4 players that are in doubt in terms of being 100% fit, including Lamine Yamal. I mean, they say, yeah, he's here, but a groin injury, as we know, that could be nasty.
Yeah,
Rodri and a couple of other ones I forget. So it's going to depend. If they're fit, then yes, no doubt they'll be in first. But if they're not 100%, your way could sneak into first.
Give me Saudi Arabia in fourth. They
Whoa! All right. All right.
You look at round 3 of World Cup qualification; they were horrible.
They were not good.
They qualified through round 4, but they hosted both matches. Round 4 was 2 groups of 3 teams and 2 host cities that were based off a highest FIFA rank when the draw happened. For who, I don't know who decided that was a great idea, but they hosted those 2 matches against Indonesia and Iraq, and they barely beat Indonesia and drew Iraq because they knew they were through if they didn't lose to Iraq. There's nothing convincing from this side. They hired their new manager in April of this year. They sacked their manager and hired a new manager, a Greek manager by Donis, who managed the Saudi Pro League before this. And he's come in and lost his first friendly against Ecuador. There was no attacking quality there. There was no new ideas. I don't think the Saudi Pro League is doing any good for this national team either. I think a lot of the players are complacent because they're making so much money domestically. They have great talents. That's already still a great Asian player, but until they prove me otherwise, the fourth, 0 goals, a bunch conceded, and they finished last is my prediction, and potentially even worse at the Asian Cup where they're a pot 1 team.
I think we see only 2 teams qualify from this one. I think I'm going to lock it in. Cape Verde and Saudi Arabia don't make, whether they're third or fourth, they're not going to make the next round. You might see
Yeah,
a lot
I'd
of
be surprised. Yeah.
a lot of zeros put up from both teams, I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go into Group I, and I'm going to start this one off. France, Senegal, Norway, and Iraq. Now, this one I have as a group of death.
It's a tough one.
I think honestly, if you did not show me the results today, I would say France should cakewalk. But now I'm really doubting things, and I'm actually putting Norway at the top of my list. I think Norway have looked really good. I know everyone's going to look like, oh, Erling Haaland is the only person available. I think that they've got something to prove. I mean, I also picked them on my draft, so I have to go number one with them.
Okay.
I will say France number 2, Senegal will qualify at number 3, and Iraq will be number 4.
No, I'm still going with France. I think that their depth is such. I mean, every time in every tournament I've seen in the last 10 years, they'll get players injured during the tournament and somebody else comes in. It's like the depth of their bench is just impressive. Now they do have a couple of, questionable 100% match fit. Like even Mbappe is dealing with some kind of an injury there, and Dembele also. So again, match fitness could be an issue, but these guys are fit. I just think they have way too much depth, and it's a core group from 4 years ago. Couple with some sprinkling with a couple of new guys in there. So I'm going with France number 1, Norway 2, Senegal 3.
I'm going with Senegal at 2.
Ahead of Norway.
Ahead of Norway.
Oh,
I think Senegal is really underrated. They've got some really top tier guys. This is also, I'm not gonna lie, this is also a bit of a homer pick for me. Iliman Ndiaye is one of my guys. He's one of my favorite players. He wasn't very good in the back half of the season for Everton, but when he went and played in the Africa Cup of Nations, he was incredible during the first half of the season for Everton. He was one of the best players, one of the best wingers, I think, in the Premier League. I think they've got a ton of course, that's just the top tier talent. Like, I think they can go toe to toe with somebody like Norway. I think overall squad, I think they've got a better overall squad than Norway does. Starting 11. If you put them up one on one, the only, Erling Haaland is a huge boost to Norway, but I'm really high on Senegal.
I mean, they probably do have a chip on their shoulder with the whole AFCON final result going towards Morocco. Do they bring the trophy with them?
They should. They should. They absolutely. And you know what? If we get Senegal versus Morocco at any point during the World Cup, they need to play.
Oh man! Oh wow!
They need to play for the Africa Cup of Nations.
Oh my
trophy.
God! Oh
that
my God!
Would be awesome.
I mean, just turn that into like your favorite nut butter and spread it all over. That would be so delicious to watch.
That'd be great.
Okay.
If we're all doing hot takes for this group, I'm going to have Iraq finishing 3rd. Thank you very much.
Oh, no.
Graham Arnold and Iraq have lost once in matches where they have their first team. The matches against the 2 matches they had in the Arab Cup don't mean anything to me. And the first match was the loss to South Korea on the very first match under Graham Arnold. The power of friendship there. They drew Spain today. That match gave me all the confidence watching the 90 minutes of that to say that they can draw against some of these teams. And I am the complete opposite of Jacob, and I am not confident in Senegalese defense. And I think someone like Ayman Hussein can cause chaos on this back line, score a couple, and get a win against Senegal and move on as a 3rd place team with a win and a draw. So or maybe a couple draws here and there. Give me Iraq as a 3rd place team with the 2 European teams ahead of them.
Do they make the next round?
No. Yeah, they do. Why not?
Wow. So I think just by the fact that none of us can agree on an order here, this is a group of death. I think
this is one of like the low key best groups in the entire tournament. I think it's a really fun group where you could get like a lot of fun results.
Yeah. I mean, I would be shocked if France was finishing 3rd in this, but you never know.
Oh my God, that'd be
well. This is true. I mean,
the whole tournament.
We don't know what French. You're right. I mean, sometimes we've seen it happen, and they come in either as defending champions, one of the favorites, and they flame out like it did in 2010.
We'll see what happens with that. Let's move on to Group J. Kenta, you're up for this one. Argentina, Austria, Algeria, and Jordan. That doesn't fit the AA matchup there,
It's
but
a shame, isn't it?
man, it would have been
kind of
nice if they
ends with
had like,
Jordan.
yeah,
Shame the debutants for ruining the group. Yeah, so it could have been like Azerbaijan or someone, and we'd have a party.
oh, that would have been
over here,
nice.
and it should have been Group A as well, but alas, one can dream. I have Argentina finishing top. I really think it, like, at this World Cup they're going to be like practically the same as hosts. Like, there's going to be so many Messi fans just in the stands. Like, it's whether you like to admit it or not, it's just going to be home matches for most of these matches, generally speaking. So I like that's going to play a factor for sure. Austria I was very impressed with. They played South Korea back in March, and they played very, very well. And they also beat Ghana like pretty single-handedly in that window. So I looked at those friendlies, and I was pretty confident with this Austrian team. So I'll have them finishing second, Algeria third, and my sweet debutants Jordan, who I love so much with Musala Tamari, I'll have them finishing fourth. But I adore the Jordanian national team. They're so fun to watch. So they'll be entertaining, but I don't know if they get any results in this group.
Yeah, I'd give them more of a chance if they didn't get rocked by Switzerland in the friendly recently. But I mean, good results against Costa Rica and Nigeria, but both of those were draws. And really, if you take a look at the wins, yeah, they won against Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Kuwait. But these are also, too far into the past. In all honesty, I don't think Jordan can really. They can't really do anything. I think I'd be happy to be there.
Yeah, I mean, they got a favorable draw in round 3 of the AFC World Cup qualification, where they were in the group with South Korea, but like the other teams in the group, Iraq, Oman, Palestine, Kuwait, like it was a very doable group for them. Where like in the same pot, if you would have been like, you could have been the Iran Uzbekistan group, where I don't think you finished, or Japan, Saudi Arabia, that like you could have been in that group, which I don't think you finished top 2. So they automatically qualified for this through round 3, which is the first round you could qualify. But truth be told, they were probably handed a luckier hand, all things considered. And
yeah,
to their credit, they played well against the teams that are below them and held their own against the top teams. I mean, they drew in South Korea, so there's certainly something there to be said. But again, there's just the quality there sometimes is really like, I want to see what Salami can do. Jamasa, not Salami, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough, and the lack of experience in Europe is telling with this team.
Oh yeah.
All right, let's go over to Group K. We're almost at the end, I swear. Jose, Portugal, Colombia, Uzbekistan, and DR Congo.
Well, I'm going with Portugal. Part of it, I think, they're a balanced team. Now, they do sometimes depend too much on their stars, but they have a good, solid, a very good defense, strong midfield. Of course, the front is pretty stacked too. Again, it's going to depend how much they actually depend on their stars. So that's the only question, but I think they'll come out on top. Colombia probably going to be second unless they implode, because they have this nasty habit of imploding at the worst possible moment. And the other two, I really don't know much about them, quite frankly. Just because of the competition, I would say Congo probably has a better chance of winding up in third place, because, I mean, let's face it, the African Federation probably has stronger teams than the Asian one overall, even though Asia's got, South Korea, Japan, and others. So to me, I think Congo will come out on third. I'm not sure that it'll be enough for them to go into the knockout station. So I'm picking Portugal, Colombia, Congo, and Uzbekistan.
I'll have Uzbekistan moving on as a third place team. I think they're a nightmare to play against. They're overly physical. I mean, they have some European players. Shomurodov is a striker. It's going to be very reliant on Shomurodov either scoring or not scoring. They only have one backup striker on this roster, so it's you have your one European striker scoring, or you're relying on a PGPL striker in surge from Persepolis, like kind of being able to pick up the pieces, which not too high on. And then of course Kusanov, he's just
sure.
He's in my eyes easily the best Asian footballer at this point right now. So pacey, so physical as a center back, and I think defensively are going to be really, really tough to break down. And I think that's how Uzbekistan are going to want to play. They're going to play in the low block, and they're going to hit on the counter. And I think they have just enough quality with like the aforementioned Shomurodov and also like Faizullayev, who's a very good winger, where I think they can get a couple goals and beat Congo, and keep matches competitively close between Portugal, which is again probably the best midfield in this competition, and Colombia as well, where like I think they can move on as a third place team.
Yeah, they're going to have to keep things close between one of those two teams, or risk, if they do finish with 3 points and have a bad goal differential, then it's not going to help them.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking at some of their results, I know they play teams, relatively close to the vest. I mean, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, Iran, but they've beaten the likes of Iran. They've beaten Egypt. They've beaten Qatar. I mean, they've at least held their own in their region. And I think if they go into this with that mentality, I think they can steal a point from Colombia or Portugal.
They beat Iran, in the CAF Nations Cup. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I still think that they're going to need a lot of help though to get up there. I still have them as third.
I mean, I will. One more thing I'll add is if you watch Iran and Uzbekistan play, because they've played at least like 6 times over the last 2 years, it's annoyed both fan bases so much that they keep matching up against each other.
Oh,
they drew 2-2s, no, 2-2. They're very close in terms of quality right now. In terms of like, I think Iran are slightly lower because they're losing Sardar Azmoun and they're losing Golizadeh due to injury. Like they have less players right now because of players not making the roster or whatever. I think the conversation is slightly different if you put Iran in the name of Iran instead of Uzbekistan in this group. I think Iran finishes third, and I would encourage a lot of people to look at Uzbekistan in a similar light to Iran because they play each other very well and competitively, and they get similar results against each other. So
yeah, I think it's going to be sneakily exciting. I want to see some of these teams I've never really seen in a bubble. I want to see how Uzbekistan perform against the quality out there. It's going to be fun. Let's finish up with Group L, the first Group L ever in World Cup play, as far as I know. Jacob, England, Croatia, Panama, and Ghana.
Okay. I'm going to.
I mean, is it coming home?
It's probably not coming home. They don't. The only way it comes home, right? And I mean, they win the whole thing is if Harry Kane just goes on an absolute bender and just continues scoring like he was at Bayern Munich. Like maybe he just goes off and like the defense is good enough. But I think Croatia is going to top this group. I think England's going to finish in second. I'm going to put Ghana in third, but not confidently. And I'll put Panama fourth. I think, this is kind of a big tournament for Croatia. That team's getting a lot older. They need some of their young guys to really perform and carry some of these guys who might not have the legs to go through such a long tournament. So that's kind of be interesting. But I think those more experienced guys are going to be really key in like the group stage. So I just think if they're like this between Croatia and England, I think they're both really top teams, but I think Croatia is just barely going to edge that because they beat England in the group, and that'll get them over the top. But yeah, I don't have much thoughts on Ghana or Panama. Ghana's not the team that they used to be, and Panama. I mean, they're not terrible, but they're not on the level of any of these three teams. The other three teams, I think.
No, well, I'm going to go with England, and the reason being is that you mentioned the core of Croatia has aged. I mean, they have done some good turnaround there, but you still have Modric in there, and Modric. I mean, the guy's a phenomenal player, not just skill wise, but how old is he now? 40, something like that. I mean, the guy just keeps going. So, yes, he will be instrumental, but he is not going to be able to carry the team anymore. Not for 90 minutes, not for 3 games in a row. So I think that England is going to have a slight edge unless they buckle under the pressure. We have seen England buckle under pressure. But if they can, if they can maintain that cool, if they can just keep playing their game and just wear down a Croatia, for example, in their game, I think England will be top, but barely. Croatia second, And I mean, I'm going with Ghana because what I've seen from Panama, I just, I've not been impressed. They're there. Okay, congratulations. Have fun.
Boy, this is tough. This is tough. I mean, I look at the qualifications and I know that England sort of had a little bit of a cakewalk in qualifications, but they didn't give up a single goal.
Mhm.
They didn't give up a single goal. That's impressive no matter how you slice it.
Yep.
It's because Jordan Pickford is England's #1. That's why they didn't give up a single goal.
Jordan Pickford was in goal when Spurs lasted, when Spurs avoided relegation. Come on, man. I mean,
okay, but Michael Keane and James Tarkowski were standing in front of him. Like, what's he supposed to do?
I'll say you can flip a coin on that one. I really want to see both teams go very far into this tournament.
Yeah.
Sure.
Peter Musa, can he carry the MLS banner for Croatia at the top?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first match of that group stage between England and Croatia is at AT&T. So home base for Petar Musa, FC Dallas product. Maybe that's a factor. I don't think there's a large contingent of FC Dallas fans that's going to be able to turn the tide there in terms of.
Does FC Dallas have fans or? Is their stadium
theoretically
is FC Dallas? Every time you see an FC Dallas game, it's empty. I know they're doing construction on their stadium. It's not fair because of the optics, but there's nobody.
It's also Frisco.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean that's some of our opinions. We'll definitely go into more depth as this tournament goes through. We're about at 1 hour right now, so I think maybe what we can try to do instead of going through our draft, if you want to see everybody that we've picked, everybody who we were stuck with in the 4th round, go to CincinnatiSoccerTalk.com. Check out that article we've got there. We've got 12 of our 11 of our best minds and myself. So why don't we go around here and say, give our pitch to why why we're going to win this draft. First of all, let's go to you, Kenta. Thank you very much for joining. Why do you think you're going to win this draft?
Go on.
Because I drafted the best group. I mean, there's no much else to be said. Again, I'm very confident in this Argentina side being able to make it far. I think I discussed how like Messi is going to naturally bring a lot of fans with him, and that's certainly going to be in his favor. Turkey, as I said in Group D, I have confidence that they're the favorites to make it out of this group as the top team. And then looking at the other 2 teams I drafted, I think I drafted Algeria, where I still have them being a team that finishes 3rd and one of the 8 third place teams that moves on. In Cape Verde, again, like that group, I just don't trust Saudi Arabia, and it just keeps coming. I know I only had 3 teams left by the time that last draft pick came around. I think it was between them and New Zealand and Iraq, I think, which I didn't expect Iran to draw Spain. So maybe I should have taken Iraq instead and taken an Asian team as a Asian football guy. But Cape Verde, they're in the group with Saudi Arabia, and I don't trust Saudi Arabia, so naturally I trust Cape Verde. This is no hate to Saudi Arabia too. I just don't trust their national team. So until they prove me otherwise, I'm going to continue to spew hate about their national team.
So you're saying you're not going to go there in 8 years to watch the cycle there in 34?
Oh, I mean, who knows? Maybe if all the stars line up, I'm there with my co-hosts for the 2020. 2027 Asian Cup that happens next January.
All right.
So if everything goes to plan, maybe something goes there. But yeah, that is completely irrelevant. Saudi Arabia is completely irrelevant from the national team. The 2 very different entities, and the national team I do not have much confidence in.
Well, thank you very much for giving us your rundown here. Let's go to Jacob, and thanks for joining us. And make your pitch, make your argument here.
Okay, so obviously I was late in the 1st round, so I ended up with Belgium. My thought process was, can I possibly get a semifinal run, or maybe even a final run out of Belgium? But can I get a semifinalist between Belgium and Uruguay? Can one of those teams, both of those teams, make a deep run into the World Cup? I mean, obviously Belgium, they have a lot of talent, but that, their quote unquote golden generation is now entering into what is probably their last World Cup, so they're going to be wanting to have a good showing. Uruguay has a good man. I'm a big Marcelo Bielsa fan, so I'm hoping that he can kind of get more out of them than what they have gotten out of in the past. The Socceroos, I mean, who doesn't want to cheer on Australia when you're watching the World Cup? I mean, they're a fun group. They've got a fun fan base. So, and then Ghana is just kind of like a dart throw. It's like, can they muster something from the past? Right? They're clearly not the team that they used to be. But can they make a shock and make it out of the group stage and maybe make it past the first knockout stage? I don't know. Probably not. I watched them play a little bit the other night. They don't particularly look. They didn't look that good against a pretty mediocre Wales team. So I'm not expecting too much. But hopefully they surprise some people.
Well, that's a lot of maybes and mights in that explanation there, Jacob. But thanks for joining us tonight. Jose, over to you, man. Thanks for joining.
Well, by the time they got to me, I mean, the pickings were slim there. But I think, okay, what can I pick? Who can I pick that can make at least a run to the semifinals? And, Portugal was still there for the taking. So I took Portugal. I think Portugal is a balanced team. I think they have something to prove. I think also, even though I cannot stand Ronaldo, by the way, I think the team wants to give him something. Frankly, I don't think they're going to get to the final. But I think they can make a run all the way to the semifinal. And there's going to be not just that it's a good balanced team, but they're playing for something here. In this case, for Ronaldo. And Ronaldo, despite his age and despite the fact that I can't stand that guy, I mean, that guy could at a moment's turn a game. So Portugal, to me, of what was left was, okay, I think these guys can make a run at least to the semifinal. And then if they get to the semifinal, who knows what could happen? And anything can happen then. Switzerland, tough team in terms of defensive wise. Yeah, they don't have a lot of creativity up front, but they could make a run maybe into the quarterfinal. Frankly, after that, I just don't see them going beyond that. And again, the pickings were slim by the time they got to me, so I had to make do with what was there. Paraguay, again, strong defensively, not much up front. Really don't expect them to go that far. And then Saudi Arabia was there thinking, well, why not? Let's just pick these guys. Maybe they're due. But again, with the picks I have, to be honest, I really don't think that we're going to go all the way. But Portugal could make a deep run into the semifinals.
Well, thanks a lot, Jose. I'm sure picking Saudi Arabia might make me feel a little bit better with my picks. I mean, 4 years ago, I rolled on Qatar, and I think I came in last, basically, because Belgium also laid belly up. So this time around, Croatia and Norway, maybe they find themselves in the semifinals. Yeah. Bosnia and Herzegovina, maybe they get into a round of 16, or Curacao, maybe they make it into the knockout rounds. Come on, man. There's got to be some Cinderella story somewhere.
There's got to be a Cinderella story somewhere. Yes.
Yeah. It might end up being the one where, everything turns into a pumpkin again, but who knows about that?
Was it a decision on your end? Because I know you sent out the list of the order of the draft. Did you put yourself last in the first round?
No.
Or was this a random generator?
That was the randomizer. I think it was the same one that Nate used, because I was the last pick last time.
So you got to talk to Nate, right? I think there's something going on there.
Because I saw the list come out before we drafted, and I was like, Jeff's being very generous by picking last, unless he has he has 13 teams that he really likes in this tournament. Like, he could have put himself first.
I'm not being
randomizer,
I'm not being humble. I think the AI hates me. I think it's ChatGPT. I used it mockingly. I used it mockingly to make my picks for the award season last year in MLS, and I think ChatGPT just hates me, man. Anyways, I want to thank everybody, and just before we wrap up, I want to bring out a very special notice for everybody. Just to remind everybody that we do live shows out in the public. So if you are wanting to watch the U.S. Paraguay matchup at a live event, we've got just the event for you. It's at Oakley Greens. They have a humongous setup of great TV screens. They have a mini golf in the back. They've got a whole bunch of soccer setups there. great chicken restaurant there, Noble Chicken. They love that stuff. Come in and see us talk. Basically, I'll say that. We'll have a live podcast starting at 7:30, and special guest star FC Cincinnati goalkeeper Roman Celentano joins us on the microphone. And yeah, we'll talk soccer with you then. I hope you can join us. Game starts at 9 p.m. and we will definitely make our opinions felt there. So yeah, that wraps things up. I hope you can join us like you joined us tonight. On behalf of myself, on behalf of Jose, thank you. On behalf of Jacob, thank you. Kenta, thank you very much for joining. I say this to everybody, keep your kit clean. Let's play for a fun 90 minutes. Thank you very much, gentlemen.